In 3, 2, 1.
Oh wait, what are we doing again?
Really?
Day 58.
Day 58.
Oh, you were talking about something with the internet, I think?
Your hair appointment's at 11.
No, I might be a little late. I have to get my hair cut.
Or
Ooh, if you had to take one item with you on a desert island, what would it be?
One item?
Yeah.
deserted island.
An item.
Deserted island.
Oh, I thought you said a dessert island. So I would take a spoon with me. If it was on a desert island, I would take a spoon, of course. Hello, adventure. So in this episode, I want to talk about friendships, but I don't want to talk about just the friendships that you run into every day, but I want to talk about those friendships that are online, because we've talked about that some of your deepest relationships are those that you are on shared adventure with. And one of the great things about online is that you can stay connected with, you can share photos of that adventure, and you can also reach out and meet new people. So the other day I was talking to a friend on a Google Hangout, and I realized afterwards I never actually met that friend in person, that I met that person online, but they've been part of a couple of Hangouts. We tweet back and forth. And so I feel like I communicate more with him than sometimes I do with some of the people that maybe I went to high school with. I realized that I was spending time having a conversation, interacting with them more than sometimes people that I'll go to church with. So I think what happens sometimes is that people become a snob about that online relationships aren't as powerful as in the real world. And so they even use that term, like in the real world, like it is not real what happens online. But did you know that 1/3 of all relationships actually originate online? 1/3 of all marriages. And so there's a lot of people that I know that like, hey, they met online. But even when they say they met online, it's almost like that they're apologizing when they tell you. Why? You might have not ever been able to meet that person before. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying is, hey, that people can have those relationships. So I don't try to just do a bad version of something that I can do in person online. I try to be creative with that. So if I'm traveling, there's things like where my daughter, we have this thing where she had wrote "I love you" on a rock, left it for me, and made a little design. So I just kind of put it in my pocket when I left one morning. And then what I did is I started to take pictures of that and showing her where I was on my adventure. And she thought that was super cool. And so then I now take that on some things. Or what I'll do is I'll do FaceTime, and as I'm tucking Emerson in bed, like I can read him a story. But when I'm reading him the story, I can say, you know, I'm gonna get you. Like I'm gonna, hey, give me a high five. And so we're able to interact that way. And he thinks it's hilarious. Think about that. I know people that read a story to their kids and they aren't present with their kids and they're sitting on the same bed. But I can be 2,000 miles away and we could be laughing and it feels like I'm right there. I can use those things online to still stay connected and relationally. So there was a point in my life where things just get busy. And you know how that can be in your own life. So my wife, Kim, and we had been married at that point, probably 15 years or so. And what had gone on, we had 2 kids, one's in middle school, one's in elementary. They got to go to this practice and that practice. And we want to be like these great parents. So we think, man, they got to be part of all of this or they're not going to get into like this best school. I think we just got caught up in it. You know, I'm busy, I'm traveling all over the world. Kim was teaching art at that time and the school was 30 minutes away. So she was getting up at 5:30. She was getting all the 2 kids ready and she was traveling. She was getting back, you know, she was exhausted by the end of that day. Well, then realize for me, I'm going to bed sometimes at 3 a.m. because I'm on different time zones. What was happening is I realized it wasn't that some big thing happened. We just had so much going on in our life. I realized we had not sat down and had dinner together at the table in a couple months. And you think, how does that even happen? Well, I was thinking about it. I'll see people that get married and they come back from their honeymoon and you see that they're holding hands. There is a glimmer in their eye and a smile on their face and a spring in their step. And then I thought about it the other day. I saw somebody, they've been married a while and they're not holding hands. And I'm thinking, they don't realize, they can't tell me the date or the time that they stopped holding hands. It happened once. There was maybe one "I love you" that wasn't said, or I don't think it's a big moment a lot of times. It's just, we get busy and that becomes the enemy. You know, I don't think that the opposite of good is always bad. I think sometimes it is of another choice. So I don't think your big decision sometimes is, do I do this good thing or this bad thing? Now, while that is sometimes the case, I think is it this good thing or this other good thing? What I realized now later is that the best thing for my kids is to see that we are on adventure and that they see mom and dad love each other, not that they go to every practice or everything like that. So for me, what ended up happening is, I mean, I'm sure I was saying, I love you. I remember it started with a conversation and I said, I miss us. I miss us just sitting and watching people and me making stupid voices of what I think the dialogue is. I miss you laughing at my dumb jokes. I miss dreaming about places that we want to go. I miss me just running my crazy ideas by you. I miss us talking. I just reached out and I just told her all of that. But here's the thing, I didn't tell her in person. I was in my office and she was in her art studio, and we were in the same house, but we were in separate rooms. But I had opened up a chat window and I told her all of this just on a chat. And what happened was she started to chat back and we fell in love again. And we loved each other, but we weren't in love. And we fell in love again in the same house, but in separate rooms, all through online. And while that might sound crazy, I'm not sure I would have said those things in that while I was thinking of the 3 things that I needed to do or felt bad that I never fixed this or, you know, in that moment. But just when I was with myself, I was able to do that. And I feel like I was more authentic and got to have conversations that I never would have. So I want to encourage you that online can be more authentic. I think some people are probably more open to have conversations that never would have those questions in real life. You know, there are some things that they shouldn't post online and they shouldn't say online, but I think if you look at that, just is the accelerated bad way, but we can also accelerate a good way. So what I want you to do is I want to encourage you to reach out and I want you to have some conversations with people. And I want you to not be afraid to be a little bit vulnerable, because that online, that in those situations, in the right context, that can be really, really powerful. So have those authentic conversations, have those real conversations with somebody. Be transparent, be willing to share yourself with the world, because that is the greatest part of your adventure, and your adventure begins right now.